And we're live. Here we are. All right. So it is 7:30 on Monday. How's everybody doing? Gosh, I love that intro song. It is my fave. So I was supposed to have a interview today with Becky Young. She got tied up, so unfortunately we're going to have to try to schedule her for another day. But I thought, hey, while I already have my computer set up and all my gear rigged up, ready to go here, why don't we just take this time to just chat, freestyle, nothing planned. Can tell you about what I've been working on and stuff we're doing. And if there's any of you that join live and you want to ask me a question, now is the time to ask a question. I'll do my best to answer. So let's see here. First of all, we're working on Planting Evidence, the card game, which is behind me here. So, Planting Evidence, what are we doing? Well, we've got a game here that we're hoping to have launched at the end of this month on GameFound. And a lot of people have actually been asking me, like, why GameFound? You know, and I've been reaching out to some of the content creators, and we have some exciting ones that I'm pretty pumped about. So I can't wait to engage them on this campaign. One of them specifically did really, really well for us on our last campaign, and I am super pumped that they've agreed to work with us on this campaign. But why GameFound? That's the big question, right? And I've had a lot of people say, gosh, Kickstarter is a much larger platform. Why bother? Trying to go to this other platform. It's not as well supported, and that is actually true. It's not as big. I think last number I saw was roughly 500,000 subscribers that they have in their ecosystem. Might be more now, but it was about 500,000 last time I saw it. And the people that are in that platform are predominantly there because they signed up as part of a pledge manager on another campaign. Backer Kit, who do Kickstarter marketing for you. Metal Lord King, welcome. Welcome to the binge. I'm taking any questions. We're freestyling here, baby. So if you have any questions, throw it at me. Backer Kit, for instance, does not advertise on for GameFound campaigns. Gel Up, another kind of pledge or another kind of marketing amplifying company, does not work with GameFound platform. Really, there's nobody but GameFound themselves right now that are marketing on GameFound. So it's one strike against you to say, why would you go on a platform if you don't have people helping you do the marketing? And you can do your own marketing and so forth. Secondarily, I think there's this belief in a lot of people I've talked to that Kickstarter inherently is just grown so much over the past number of years, where a large portion of I think it's even close to 25% or even a third of all campaigns on that platform are around board games. So again, why would you go to GameFound? And by the way, Metal Lord King, we're talking about this game and my decision to go on GameFound versus Kickstarter. One thing that I know as a truth in the social media area, and quite frankly, a lot of software that is out there, that if you can be part of the early adoption crowd, the algorithms typically favor you. All right. So when Instagram launched stories, the people that hopped on stories first got massive coverage that they wouldn't have got if they had to try to do that, several months later by advertising on that platform. TikTok, another great example. TikTok, the algorithms will favor content creation and favor any kind of new feature that is that comes out. And that's why you see on TikTok, all of a sudden you'll see the same kind of thing showing up over and over again on different people's videos. And that's because these are people who adopted it early. Algorithms push it out and they get coverage in their content. So in looking at Kickstarter, we had set a page up on Kickstarter to launch Planting Evidence. And the goal was to launch at the end of this month. And we had organically, and by organically with our email blasts that went out and so forth, but no advertising. We were at around 100 subscribers, and then I think we capped at 150 as we were making the decision to go over to GameFound. And I'm going to talk about some of the benefits of GameFound in a second. I might even do a screen share if I can. That actually might not be a bad idea too. I'll actually share my screen, show the platform. But if you look at like just the organic coverage alone that we received on GameFound. So we announced we're going to go on GameFound about a week or so ago. We've done zero advertising. I've mentioned it in passing on some of our posts. We are already significantly higher than we were on Kickstarter, just organically, just people finding us on the platform. So let me see if I can share my screen here, because this is pretty telling as to the why. And if there's any of you out there looking at doing your own game, I would strongly suggest you check out GameFound as well. Take the guest logo off because we're going to catch Becky on another day. So let me just expand this bad boy so you guys can see it. Okay, so this is the GameFound platform. And again, traditionally it's a pledge manager, but right off the hop, you can see that they have this kind of featured project up at the top. As you start scrolling down, let me make this a little bit bigger. You see, we're finally open to all creators. So these guys, this Awakened Realms, created this platform to launch their own games because they didn't want to pay gobs of money to Kickstarter. And they launched their own platform. Once they worked out all the kinks, they opened it up to basically general public. Anybody that wants to launch a campaign on here, they can. So you can see active projects, which I can scroll through, right? And there's not a ton. I think the active projects is like maybe 30. So right away, when you compare us to Kickstarter, where if I launch a game on Kickstarter, as soon as I'm live, if you're blessed with them choosing you as a project they love, maybe you get front page placement. I've done 4 campaigns, never had that. I got a lot of colleagues that have done some campaigns that have never had that. Schools out as to how to actually get on that list. But they also, you're buried. Like you might be scrolling, unless you just launch your campaign and somebody filters by most recently launched, you're probably going to be fairly far down the page. What got me really excited about GameFound, when I look at upcoming projects, so these are projects that are launching soon. These are projects that have not launched yet. Okay, again, I want to say that. There's big thumbnails organically that are promoted on the page of campaigns that are coming up that have not launched yet. On Kickstarter, you get a tiny little thumbnail when you finally say you're going to launch, when you pick a date, and that's it. And people will only find that thumbnail if they're really looking for upcoming campaigns, and it's a little bit of a workaround even to find that on Kickstarter. But then again, also, you have to give them a link for them to find you. It's not like they can just see it like on the landing page. This is on the landing page. These are upcoming campaigns. These campaigns haven't even launched yet. When you click on see all upcoming projects and you start scrolling down, there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Last week I was, I think, spot number 6. Now I've fallen down a little bit further. But again, I haven't picked an actual launch date on this campaign. It's just that I have actually said I am going to launch. And I've got a thumbnail where people can check out this game. It gives an explanation of the game. You see a fairly large, I wouldn't even call it a thumbnail, you see a fairly large billboard about the game coming. And I'm on the first page. Like as soon as you click on see more projects and you scroll down, you can see my game. So for me, the visibility already is way, way, way higher than it would be on Kickstarter pre-launch. When I click on the actual thumbnail, again, the campaign has not launched yet. They give a preview that is far superior to anything you could possibly get through Kickstarter. So as you can see here, you can see images of the game that we put in here. It gives you a kind of an idea of what some of the cards do. I'll talk about the game in a second, but it's, I mean, essentially you're planting evidence on other people and trying to frame them for murder. And you get a good summary of the game. And there's actually, I believe on the first thumbnail, there's actually the video you can actually hit play on. So you can actually play a video and actually play the preview of the campaign. But this baby right here is what got me just jazzed about this, which is if somebody clicks the follow button. So I got 145, again, followers. Not bad. Haven't started advertising yet. Haven't formalized our launch date yet. Not bad for organic followers. But here I can set an incentive for people to follow. So if somebody follows just by clicking on this button, they get a $5 discount when we launch. That is huge. And this is built into the platform. So you have the ability, even if you're not want to give a financial incentive, say you want to give something, some stuff to somebody for clicking that button, you can. It can be a thing, it can be a discount, but having that inherently built in is insane. That is probably one of the most brilliant moves I've seen these guys come up with. It is amazing. An area for people to put comments and questions. Then if you scroll down, you can actually see what the full campaign page is going to look like. Again, this is just the draft. We're going to keep adding to this. We're going to keep adding stuff. But man, you can show people everything before you even launch. That is far, far, far superior to what you can get through Kickstarter, which only lets you see stuff when you actually launch. Again, this is the team. I want to give props out to the team. This is me, of course, in the top corner, James Staley, Adam Staley, my brother, co-designer, Alex, social media girl. I don't want to call her social media girl. It's actually pretty bad. Social media manager. Stephen Hill, we call him the rules scrubber editor. And we got Rita and Hugo from Meeple of Liberty. They're helping us with some of our international content. And again, they did some awesome work on Hamsters versus Hippos. Board Game Binge supports this, as well as it's published by Tin Robot Games. And MOB Vanguard is our licensing agent. So I don't know about you, if you are doing a campaign or having a campaign coming up, but if there's any doubt in your mind whether this platform is superior to what you would get on Kickstarter, it's not even a question, right? It's not even close. The functionality of GameFound is just amazing. Now, again, ecosystem, not as big as Kickstarter. However, the ecosystem they have is entirely focused on board games. If you are going to GameFound, you know why you're going to GameFound. All right, you're there for a reason. You're there to basically look at board games. So in terms of a very focused audience, it doesn't get better than that in terms of a platform. Will we see backer kits or Gelop or some of these social media amplification companies? Will we see them help advertise on this platform? I don't know. GameFound is technically their competitor, right? GameFound started off as a pledge manager. And a lot of people, as a free pledge manager, a lot of people use. So right there, a lot of people had moved over from these other platforms, which again, I'm a big fan of BackerKit. I mean, BackerKit, and they absorbed CrowdOx. They did amazing on the pledge management. Was my last campaign. The marketing that they did on Nutty Squirrels: The Oakwood Forest was robust, and they did a very, very good job. So this is no slight to them. I want to give them props. They did amazing. But it will be interesting to see how they adapt and how they integrate into some of these other platforms that are coming, right? Because GameFound's not going away. And I think there's a lot of people like myself that are going to take advantage of being an early adopter and want to jump in and see what we can get. The good news is I don't need to make a boatload of money on planting evidence. Our approach as a company has really been to learn as much as we can. And So every campaign I do, I'm trying something new, right? I tried a different social media amplification company. I'm not going to mention the one I used on my last campaign. It didn't work as well as BackerKit. So clearly to me, it showed me the BackerKit is where it's at in terms of social media amplification. I've used different pledge managers. I've used the one that Kickstarter provided. I've hired others. And to me, I think that you need a pledge manager. I mean, that it was clear to me that a pledge manager is something that you should probably have if you're doing a campaign. Even if you are doing a simple campaign and don't have a lot of, complexity to your campaign, even having a simple campaign, I find there's a lot of functionality in the pledge managers that really helps. Number one being incremental pledges. If you were using the Kickstarter pledge manager, which is built in, there's not really incremental pledges that come along with that. Whereas you can still get another 10, 20% pledges on your campaign if you're using a pledge manager. So there's a lot of benefit for using a pledge manager. But I think time will tell how this goes. I'm starting to triangulate where I want to be for when we finally do the campaign that I'm going to say the campaign that, for lack of a better word, counts, right? All these other campaigns, if I'm covering my cost, if I'm covering off the cost of the campaign in the manufacturing and distribution to the backers, I'm happy. These campaigns are about getting the game out and learning as much as we can. They're not necessarily about making boatloads of money. However, each learning we get along the way, hopefully there'll be a cumulative effect that at some point in the future, we will make a lot of money on a campaign and we'll be able to do that more full time. So, there's Mackenzie. Kyla joined. How's it going, Kyla? If you're just coming to speed, we're filling in time because, unfortunately, our guest got tied up tonight, and so we're gonna have to reschedule Becky for an interview on another day. But in this time, I'm actually just talking about some of the things we're doing on Planting Evidence, the card game. So really quickly, Planting Evidence for those who are interested. Again, I'm going to go back to our GameFound page because it's just amazing at showing you the artwork and so forth. The game comes in a thermoform tray with a pen, pad of paper, instruction sheet. And essentially, what you're doing in this game is you're matching sets and you're placing them against other people. So if there's someone that, and it counts against their score. So if I can form a full fingerprint, right, from, you see in this case, I've got 4 partials. If I can get 4 partials together, that forms a full fingerprint, then the score on that fingerprint goes against that person. Is basically planting evidence on them. We have fingerprints, we have DNA, we have license plates where you're trying to assemble a full license plate. And then in addition to that, we have weaponry that you can plant on the scene, as well as there's wild cards that are specific to whether you're planting evidence or alibis. And the cool thing about this game is you can actually offset some of the evidence put against you by starting to build alibis on your side. So you've got kind of this 3-way play going on where you're planting evidence, you're defending by trying to decide how you're going to defend with alibis, and at the same time, you're trying to figure out, when do I push somebody over the 300 mark? Because as soon as you push somebody over the 300 mark, it triggers the end of the game. Whoever has the high score at that point is deemed the murderer. But if you don't have the lowest score at that point, you are not the forensic experts. You actually still lose the game. So you want to be very careful as to when you push somebody over. So you're planting evidence, you're building alibis, and you're kind of choosing your timing and when you're going to send somebody to jail. Adam just joined us. Welcome, my friend. We're coming near the end, but you can join us for the last few minutes. One of the cool things about this campaign is we are going to include these enamel coins. So we did this on Queen of Scots. A lot of people really love them. They're brass, enamel coated coins, really thick, really heavy, collector's pieces. We only had, for that campaign, a few hundred made. Same thing for this campaign. We're only going to make enough to cover off the backers, and that's it. We're not reprinting the coins. So for a backer exclusive, you'll get 2 coins. You get 1 coin that acts as a marker for those who are found guilty of murder. So you can tag them as a murderer, and then there's also a coin to mark the forensic expert. So why would you want to use these coins or mark, what function they play in the game? Well, essentially in this game, if you're playing tournament style, so say you play one a round and, it finishes in like 20 minutes and you want to play again. Use these coins kind of like in the game A-Hole where you're marking the lowest scored person and the highest scored person. The forensic expert and the person that's framed for murder, what they do in the next game, the first hand dealt out, any wild cards that the forensic expert has, they must give those cards to the person that was framed for murder in the last game, just to kind of give them a bit of a leg up, because this game is all about take that. Yes, you're picking on people and ganging up on people, quite frankly, because as soon as you see somebody, usually it's when somebody's in a better position, then everyone else will kind of gang up on them to get them, bring their score back up equal to everyone else's. But there's a lot of take that, and you want to give some incentive for subsequent rounds so the same person's not getting just beaten down to a pulp, that they've at least got a little bit of a leg up. So that's why I put those coins there. So that's essentially it. Thank you so much for joining and watching. I know this is just kind of a freestyle ramble, but if there's any questions that you have, please feel free to send them to us. We'd love to hear from you. And thanks again for being part of the Board Game Binge podcast. You guys take care. Cheers. This has been an episode of the Board Game Binge podcast, hosted by James Staley, produced by James Staley and Mike Bruner, with original music by Nick Smith. If you would like to watch these interviews live, simply subscribe to our YouTube channel, Board Game Binge, and you'll get access to live interviews, giveaways, and interesting board game content from across the industry. I can't wait for you to join us. See you next time.